Continuing here. Well, so if anybody wants to defend crony capitalism, okay, you're on your own. You stand before God later on your own. Maybe today. Any day could be the last day any of us have. So to me, it's unconscionable that people think this is okay. Okay, what's been going on? This ever increasing wealth and income disparity, this anti progress, this regression, okay, social economic regression, and you expect there's not going to be class warfare? Good God. I mean, of course that's what it is. Figure it out. So what's bringing it on? What's inducing it? It's not happening in a vacuum. Crony capitalism is evil. It's ungodly. So get serious. And you can say, well, it's better than this or that. Hey, if you want to sit there and accept the ever declining state of affairs in America, okay, social economically speaking, you're on your own, because that's a hell I don't want to be a part of. Okay, you think you can be prosperous and separate yourself from others, that you're financially free and that's all good and you're making money off the problem? I mean, how many people out there, their jobs depend on the problems proliferating? Okay, depend at least that the problems stay in place and are maintained. I'm serious. I mean, it's incredible. People got to step back and think about these things. Think about it. If you didn't have all the extreme poverty out there, think of how many social welfare workers would be out of jobs, okay? Do you understand what I just said? Think hard. Think about the fact that this subsidy the government pays to stop homelessness in this country, if that ended tomorrow, do you understand how housing costs would plummet overnight without that subsidy? Guaranteed it. Guaranteed plummet in half or less. Okay, that's what would happen to your rent, because people have been paying a hell of a lot less than half their rent in this government subsidy of Section 8 housing. So the government's making the problem worse. All these jobs that depend on the problems. It's sick. We're sick. We've got to get that through our collective heads. As humanity, we have bought a lie. We have been duped, deceived, okay, finagled, okay. Get it through your head. We've been taken. All this stuff is a big charade, a shenanigan. We've got fraud heaped upon fraud. That's all we have. It's just social economic disaster. That's all this economy is based on. Okay, and I can't just shut up. Okay, as a good American brother, okay, that's what I'm doing to my fellow American brothers and sisters out there. I'm just trying to be a friend and point out these truths, that we've got to get serious about this, about explaining these things to each other and convincing people that they want to jump sides. They want to be on the right side of history here. Okay, that's it. That's what we needed to do. Convince, don't condemn people. That we will answer. We will. And that's the most radical thing I can say, is that we will answer for our belief system. But understand, what I'm saying is true. That the vast majority of jobs, I mean, do you know how many people employed in the financial services industry? Okay, I mean, anybody that thinks that money is something that's indispensable, and we just can't live without that. You can't fathom that idea. It's just too far out. Okay, remember all the problems then you're condoning. By default, you're saying that these things we got to keep in place because it's so important that I have money. Okay, and this is why I need money, because he's got money and he needs my money and this and that. All this bull. This is satanic. It's psychobabble. Okay, it is Babylon. It is stupidity. It is ignorance. It is confusion. And that's where the vast majority of people are. I could say, yeah, I'd rather have $1 million than buy to my favorite food, unlike any other creature, who I'm infinitely more intelligent than, all of us are, but also profoundly less mature. Okay? Phenomenally less mature because of the money thing, buying into this. We should not buy into it. None of us should. But yet we have to. It's like putting the cart before the horse. You can't let... You see what I mean? You do it in the right protocol, the right order of business here. Okay, you don't just say, oh, all of a sudden now, if you don't believe in money and you hate money so much, just you go live without money. That's putting the cart before the horse. No, we have to move in concert here, okay, together, by just creating less need for money through a reduced cost of living. Okay, this is what you do. So, I hope somehow I'm reaching people, and that they can, in their own words, they can convey this information to other people And we've got to come together. Stop hating each other. Remember, you can hate somebody's belief system, but give them the benefit of the doubt and just imagine that they're deceived. Okay, that goes for anybody, any side of any equation. Okay, I mean, people far too often, they don't imagine, look, what if I had been born in Afghanistan, some, poor, misplaced, forsaken place in the Middle East. Hey, you'd have a whole different paradigm perspective. Okay, so we need to be empathetic. Everybody needs to give a damn. Okay, everybody needs to give a damn. We got to put ourselves in each other's shoes, like they say. Walk a mile in my shoes. Okay, before we judge each other, we got to care all the upbringings, how different they all were for all of us. So this is very important. It's a godly thing I'm trying to instill in people, is to just say, yeah, it's true that even though we're vastly different, we were brought up vastly different belief systems and all this stuff. Somehow, some way, God can heal our wounds, and he can bring us together as a family in love and caring and an ideal state, idyllic. That's what God wants, idyllic. Right, that's what he wants. That's logical. That's what makes sense. What does God want for his kids? He wants everything to be perfect down to the smallest details. If you got something that bugs you, then it's going to bug me, and vice versa. That's the way it works for all of us, because we are inextricably interconnected spiritually, just in every way, any interpretation of being together. We're one blood, red blood. We're human beings. We have one set of parents. That's God Almighty, one Creator. And there's one way to please this God, and it's by caring about each other. That means loving one another. That means respecting one another and wanting the best for everybody, not some people, not selectively, but blessing your enemy with your heart, genuinely, sincerely blessing them, knowing that God's not stupid. It's not like he's going to bless somebody in a way that's inappropriate. He knows what the hell he's doing. If there's one thing God is not, that's stupid. So when you bless your enemy, you're just doing what a friend of God would do. When you get it, you get it. And you're trying to help other people to get it. And then they go and help other people to get it. And that's how we all come together on this thing. If you're real, you're real. You will survive to inherit the surface of the earth. If you're one of these people that hungers and thirsts for truth, for righteousness. If you be... what is it? How is it written? That those that love the truth, okay, will see good. Those that love God, those that hunger and thirst for righteousness, will see good. You're going to see good, and good and God are like one and the same. So that means all things good. That means bad is absent. Anything negative is absent. Okay, so that's where you want to end up. And that's the guarantee. That's the promise in the Bible, at least, that if we're really his friends, faithful to the end, unto death, okay, that we will inherit a better world. And that world just keeps getting better and better. It has to. We're going through storms. And we've been going through one big long storm all through history. Since Satan got a foothold in this world, Jesus spelled it out, calling him the prince of this world. And he spelled it out, that his power and the money and how this is like a competing master for the affection, the attention, and the reverence that belongs only to God, because God is the only rightful sovereign owner of the universe and all that is contained therein. That includes all the beings. That includes Lucifer. That includes Satan. That Satan's final destiny will not be decided by mere humans that say, string him up, crucify Satan and all this. No, God's way is far advanced from ours. His plan is to separate the wicked from the righteous. Okay, so all those that are bent to destruction, that won't repent, that won't relent, take a different path, then they're buying their own ticket to hell. God's just giving them what they demand because they're unwilling to live in an idyllic world that God has planned for us. And say, I'm willing to lay all my cards on the table. And if that means in the absence of money, if that's what it takes, I'm willing to do that. That I have no one up on anybody else, no advantage over anybody because of my money, my satanic influence. Okay? That's antithetical to God's will being done. I'm willing to lay it all on the table. that I don't value this thing more than I value the lives of others. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not going to stand before God and rationalize that bit of psychobabble. No, I've got to care about people much more than money. And are we doing that? But just remember, ask yourself, would you, if your worst enemy, and that means probably the worst money lover, if you hate money like me, and you say, I want to live in a world that's pure and clean and righteous, just and all good things that God has planned for us, still, would you save the life of your drowning enemy? And if you're truly righteous, you would. As a metaphor, I'm using that as a metaphor. And that's what I mean about reaching out to people of bitter hand, holding out the olive leaf, and getting slapped on one cheek and turning the other cheek, okay? Look, we have to go through these things. This is the persecution the righteous have. This is just being God's friend. But he promises even if they kill you, they don't really kill you. They're only killing the body. But we're not bodies. It's a temporal thing. That's it. It's like a vehicle, a vessel that contains our true essence. Yeah, the senses are very integral, okay, integrated into the heart and the soul, the spirit, the mind, the essence of what we are. Our true marrow is an ethereal, invisible marrow. It truly is, but it's nonetheless real. I mean, when you think about it, that's what an imagination is. What is an imagination? It's a thought. What is a thought? Can you put your finger on it? Can you touch it? No, you can say, oh, well, it came from your brain. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not asking where it came from, okay, because that's a whole nother question. I'm asking if it's invisible or not. You'd have to agree it is. And then you'd have to agree also that the things that are manifest from the thought are quite visible, quite tangible, quite real. And so all this stuff is integrated. Yes, our body and all that, but God can, just as easily as he gave us these, and that was a command, go forth, be fruitful and multiply. So as sure as that command, God made that command to be fulfilled by actually literally putting drugs into our bodies that activate these feel-good hormones in our brain to procreate. He ensured that his command would get fulfilled. So that's as certain as the prophecy is going to be fulfilled, that God's will is going to be established on earth. As sure as that's going to happen is as sure as we're all here. By his will, by his command, we're here, and that it's going to be made manifest. He's going to win this battle. So all you evildoers, any evildoers that's listening to me, look, man, I mean, you can fight and fight and fight. You can kick against the goads, but you can't prevail. Not all the collective forces of darkness are going to prevail. And the majority of our military and law enforcement are on the side of righteousness and goodness. I believe that. There's a lot of people, a lot of Americans are good. So the only way Trump's tax cut plan won't work is if people get all greedy and insecure. And that's a problem, you see. This insecurity builds on itself. It's created this chain reaction, this cause and effect, where if even the prosperous people feel insecure, so they want to hoard and hoard and hoard, that just compounds the problems. We're getting hit from all these different sides, social economically speaking, that most people don't see. I can't hardly wrap my mind around it. It's just too much. It's too convoluted and involved. All the excruciating minutiae of how we're being duped and taken to the cleaners, all of us. How they're stealing the wealth of our nation right up from under our noses, and what that translates to. Just a perpetual enslavement, greater enslavement of the poor and the downtrodden, and, dashing their hopes and making it a less and less livable society, a lower and lower standard of living, and making us lose our will to live. All this stuff's combined in what they're doing, and creating the dubious wars and the refugees, and just they're upsetting the whole supply and demand paradigm further. They price fixing, it wasn't enough for them, and the market manipulation and the special interest groups colluding and forming this horrible Hydra situation that's fascist. Now the government's involved in working against the best interests of the people. They're just hitting us on every front. Every way they can dupe us and screw us and steal the wealth of our nation, they're doing it. Believe me, they know what they're doing, man. It's diabolical to the nth degree. They're using the educational system. People are indoctrinated and brainwashed in there into this pseudo-liberalism. And that's another, all these proponents of conservatism have got to get straight. Good liberalism is just as good conservatism. It's two sides of the same coin. Good is good, man. There's good liberal ideas. There's good conservative ideas. And all you people that just want to slam all the libtards and all the lefties and all this, make fun of them, ridicule them. Look, they weren't created in a vacuum. There's good people and there's bad. Okay, good ideas and bad, not the people themselves. Okay, remember, it's about the ideas, the belief system, the philosophies. People are deceived what they believe in. So it happens on both sides, the whole spectrum. There's deceit, mass deceit out there. That's what they want. They want our head spinning, disempowered, discombobulated, off balance, okay? Not be able to string two words together if they had their way. So none of us have any power. We're just like brute beasts. That's what they want. I see that all over when people don't think enough of themselves, and I feel it. And it's bad that I was just born to be cattle, a slave to paying the rent and all this crap. And it's just going to get harder and harder. Yep, social Darwinism, and people are just accepting it by them moving this Overton window, and it gets harder.